Hey guys, I'm going to teach you how to become a rockstar programmer using the skills that you already have. So pay attention and write this down. So a little bit about myself so you know where I'm coming from with these opinions and suggestions for you is I've been a developer for about 12 years. I started as a junior developer, worked my way up to senior developer, became a programming manager, quit my job as a programming manager so I can go back to being a developer because I really like developing. And so I've watched the ladder all the way from the bottom of the barrel to the project manager, and I've interacted with different types of teams, and I can definitely tell you what's worked and what hasn't worked. And I'm going to really get you in that zone to where you're going to succeed using those skills. So these things I'm going to talk to you about today, they're probably things that you haven't heard of before because they're things that nobody's told me. These are things that I've come up with on my own. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, and this is kind of really out there, I know, but give it faith and try it before you kick it, all right? Focus music. Now, I'm not saying that you have ADHD. I'm not saying that all developers do. I'm just telling you that every developer I've ever talked to that put a set of headphones on, noise canceling headphones, they looked up focus music on YouTube or on some other, audio platform, and they played it, just stayed in the zone. They were able to understand the context of things they were reading code-wise, and they achieved more. Alright, so that's number one. This next one you have heard before, but you probably not put it to full use. So this one's really interesting. Break the problem into smaller pieces, okay? So we've all heard that, and we all think we're doing it, but I don't think we are, right? If your project manager or your boss, assigns you something, and you think, oh my God, you instantly get that crushing feeling of, oh my God, this is a really hard task, this is a huge problem. Break it into small pieces. Find the smallest chunk that you can break off. Some reusable routine in the middle, some UI at the beginning, maybe some storage that you're going to work backwards from if you do database first. Break it to the smallest possible piece you can, and it's going to build your confidence. And when your confidence is high, your success level's high, and you look great. The next one is to keep learning, to keep current. Now, and a lot of people, say, well, yeah, I'm learning, I'm constant, I'm doing Udemy courses, I'm doing YouTube videos. All right, guys, well, it's not just to keep learning, it's to know what to keep learning, okay? So as much as I love you watching my videos and I want you to continue, please do. Separately, on a separate note, right? I want you to go out there and watch a couple of the latest systems design videos. And I don't mean any systems design videos. Look up system design videos for some really successful large platforms, okay? So check out, just Google system design videos for Uber, for Twitter, for Netflix, okay? And that'll get you kind of an idea of what the architectures are, what the APIs that you have to interface with are, what the bigger companies out there are doing, and how you can learn those tech. Then you can take what you've learned from that video and go research those technologies and use them in your own job, or at least recommend them to your superiors, and you'll look like a star. Okay, I myself am currently doing that. Not at my work or anything, but I'm trying to learn those things now on my own, so that maybe down the road at my work, if they ever need that, I'll be able to help them with that, right? Super good to have that info. All right. Successful programming is kind of all about timing. For myself, if I put something down and I come back to it, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But if you are truly stuck on something, becoming more and more frustrated is actually going to reduce your ability to solve any problem. So if you're starting to get frustrated with a problem, you put that problem down, you go find something else to work on, you take a break, you take a nap. I don't care. If you want to be successful, you can't stay on something and be frustrated, more frustrated, more frustrated. If it's something you can't ask for help on, especially, you got to put it down and work on something else and come back to it. I can't tell you how many times I've put something down and just been so successful when I came back. So this next one is focused at you guys that are already kind of feeling like you're down in the dumps and you're getting a bad rep from somewhere, all right? So let me ask you something first for you guys. Are you getting a bad rep from a customer, or are you getting a bad rep from a coworker, a technical coworker? Because if it's from a customer or a non-technical coworker, then I think you need to focus on the things that they see. And I don't mean like you're pumping out products faster and they see that you're doing things quicker. I mean, you need to focus on the quality of what they see, and then you might not get such a bad rep. So for example, we're focusing on that customer first, then in a minute here, I'll get to if it's a technical person giving you a bad rep. But if it's a non-technical person giving you a bad rep, They need to focus on whatever front end that you have. If you're a back end developer, non-technical people, hey, sorry man, you got what you got, right? So let me just say, find a better way of explaining what you've accomplished so that it makes yourself look better, because if you don't have the front end to work with, not much I could do for you there. Technical people, all right? Now I've got a lot more information to share on the technical people, so this one here is good. All right, so now the technical people in your team, they don't really necessarily care about your end product except for the parts that they consume. So if those are the ones giving you a bad rep, you need to be more successful, obviously, at the library code and shared routines, but more importantly, more visibly, the simple things, right? The things that you're already an expert at. Managing that Git repo, organizing things, moving things out into folders within your solution. If you have a nice structure in a project that you built and then somebody else joins you in it, or if you're working in a project that somebody else has been in charge of, do you really want to come in there and shove a whole bunch of files into one folder? You could write wonderful code, like top notch. No one's ever going to care because you ticked them off by making a mess of their project. Spend more time testing your code. Yeah, I know, it's a pain in the butt, right? But let's be realistic. How many times have you pushed out a piece of code that didn't work when somebody else used it and it worked perfectly when you used it, right? Spend more time creating unit tests, testing in any which way you like to test, but make sure you test every possibility that that function is going to be used that you wrote. I don't care if it's front end, back end, whatever. You spend more time testing it, and once again, putting out quality over quantity, going to be viewed drastically. Stop taking shortcuts. If you copy and paste code and you create, code duplication because it's easy and it saves you, it gives you the ability to complete 4 work items today instead of 1, that may feel great for you right now, but I guarantee you every single person that ever finds out that you did that is going to think less of you, right? Don't do that. Stop doing that. More on those shortcuts, just general bad design choices. A lot of people will actually, believe it or not, and I shouldn't say believe it or not because you might be one of them, and I've done it in the past and I've learned the hard way, is make bad design choices to save themselves time. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you want to store something in a database, maybe a blob, and then somewhere else you're going to store a link to that blob. There's like 6 different ways you could design that solution, right? You got to design it in such a way that it's maintainable for your application, your environment, your company, your team. Don't take shortcuts with anything. All right, getting away from that technical stuff and hitting you with a few more general tips that's going to help you become that rock star. Don't be afraid to offer to help with the requirement analysis, or if you see one of your coworkers that's not necessarily a full-blown developer, go ahead and offer to do things that may be outside the scope of your job. Don't offer too much because you end up having the opposite effect and becoming totally not a rock star if you kind of become an over volunteering person. And if you watch some of my early videos, about 6 months ago, I talked a lot about that. So it still applies, but I want to emphasize that maybe it's not 100%. Everything you should be focused on is not ever volunteering, because you don't want to look like this jerk that's just not willing to be a team player. And then finally, to wrap this up, it's not all about what happens while you're punching keys on the keyboard. When you take your lunch break and you go out and you eat a fat loaf of pizza, you come back to work, you're going to be kind of like drooling, eyes closing, and just kind of open up and watch the clock. That's not going to get you anywhere, man. Save that for Friday night, all right? Save that for evening meals. Focus on, on your lunch break, eat a healthy lunch. If you can, exercise, and I mean exercise in the morning and at lunch if possible, because, when your body is healthy, your mind is healthy, and you want to be, you want to be top notch. And I know I said top notch a lot, but it's important, and good luck to you.